So we're going to do some comments this morning. We're going to look at, say, some of the concerns that folk have in terms of hardware and so on and so forth with the new conversation now that's coming out that the PS5 Pro is the one console that I think is just pretty much preparing, I would say training more console gamers to eventually get used to what the PC paradigm has been. I guess especially from a lot of their perspective and concerns. Now, the funny thing is, when I've been talking about, the PC gaming proposition, a lot of folks have said, we're not going to go to PC because of these reasons. Those reasons right now are now on PlayStation, especially with the PS5 Pro. Number one, some have said they don't want to deal with hardware upgrades and, disconnecting and reconnecting and upgrading their hardware. Where now on the PS5, you have two hardware pieces that you have to actually by yourself tinker with an upgrade, which is your hard drive or NVMe, and then the other one is your disk drive, which is very interesting because that's just as much work as it took me to go ahead and upgrade this PC that you're seeing that's playing Gotham Knights. I'm capturing with the PC and also playing the game, so my frame rates are around like 70, 80 FPS because OBS is a hog for CPU and GPU juice. So this first comment I think is very interesting. So shout out to Chris Martinez 4766. You said, "Yo, VG, thank you for your insights. I'm more like a casual gamer, Xbox preferred. I just love to play the game that I enjoy. I love how you explain everything from a logical point, in all aspects of gaming. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I don't care much for console wars. For me, gaming is gaming, but I have a question. Based on trends, do you think/feel that the next generation of consoles are PC/console hybrids? With the option to upgrade hardware, GPU, memory power, granting company approved partners, AMD, Nvidia, Western Digital, etc. I see this might be the next step. Imagine gaming with the ability to upgrade specs as desired, but still not in the comfy confines of console gaming atmosphere. This is basically getting everyone going to PC, which I don't mind, as I will enjoy playing my games. Thanks." Now, here's the thing. What you're asking for already exists. It just doesn't exist under the Xbox brand name. And Microsoft already supports it. It's just that right now, the console ecosystem is so closed and it's designed specifically to be closed in order for the companies to be able to extract as much in terms of profits from those who are within that ecosystem. We'll think about two things. PlayStation's recent financials, which has come out, I think I made a video about that briefly, and it showed that they are doing well. Destin made a video as well, and he said despite Concord, but the one thing he didn't necessarily pay attention to was that right now anyways, Concord is not in this financial year annual report. So that's something that needs to be taken into account, right? So when you think about all of that and you put it all in perspective, you realize that they're still making money. Xbox made a ton of money even when, during the Xbox One days and was able to stay afloat. Its profits were not heavy, but it was still making money. Why? Because those within the ecosystem supported and continue to support and do things just normally. This is how the console ecosystem is designed. It's designed to have its fail safes on different corners so that the manufacturer and the people who are supporting it can still make money. Xbox will have to be very careful to make something like that with the Xbox branded name. But what I just said to you that this already exists is right here with devices like the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is getting an iteration for a white version coming pretty soon. And it has other iterations as well with different memory capacities. Now, you know what's crazy, ladies and gentlemen, is even though this Steam Deck is supporting Valve, right? And it's supporting the Steam OS and such, the Steam Deck is an open platform because Valve has made it so. And the advertising of the Steam Deck is this. A Steam Deck, look at this, powerful portable PC gaming designed for comfort and a console-like user experience. You can upgrade some of your hardware in the Steam Deck. You can upgrade your internal NVMe, and then you can put an SSD. So nothing too complex in a sense, but this is designed to simplify that process. And a lot of console gamers have actually gotten into PC via this route. There's a YouTuber that I covered this video that's coming soon. I did a reaction of his move from console to PC. His name is JD Coffee, and the Steam Deck and Rogue Ally and devices like these brought him to the PC platform where he's now spent about $24 or so $100, I think close to, or $2,000 in buying himself a 4080 Super and I think 7800X CPU build, solid, massive build. He bought it. He didn't care about the cost. If he had built it, he would have spent way less, but he just went straight knee deep diving into that PC paradigm. So already, what many console players are asking about is the possibility that you're going to get an Xbox branded device on there. I don't think Xbox is necessarily that concerned about it because they can now support these devices by providing Windows. Even Valve got to the point where they worked with AMD to get the drivers for the Steam Deck ready for people to be able to go ahead and, be able to install Windows on their Steam Deck. I installed Windows on my Steam Deck because I prefer, the way Windows works. I've used it for years. I'm used to it, all of its problems and all of its issues. So I went ahead and installed it. And the moment I installed it, since then, I haven't even seen my, my Steam OS. Does that mean I dropped Steam? No, I didn't. Software sales are still happening even yet. In fact, I bought more games that I felt I could carry around on Steam, even though I'm still using Windows. And I now have access to my Game Pass library, as many of you have been telling me this. In some of the things I can use to play games, even on Game Pass, and supported natively with the Steam Deck and the Windows operating system on the device. So all of these are already happening. And so if Xbox wanted to come in here and do this, they would have to do it under the Xbox brand or get an Xbox handheld that runs Windows. That kind of breaches, that that rips that curtain that PlayStation has used to money had a lot of games, but then also still keep their console separate from all of the NVIDIA, AMD, and Western Digital and all of this other, AMD and NVIDIA, they're basically, chip and board manufacturers at the end of the day. Western Digital is a storage, manufacturer. They basically do hard drives and such. So maybe you're looking at Dell and HP and Lenovo, because if they open it up, they will come in and make the hardware and brand it Xbox. They won't be shy about it. But is Xbox going to allow for them to have that kind of control? I don't think so. I think Xbox will maintain the Xbox ecosystem and also maintain the Xbox console unit. Then the handheld, if they made one, would deviate from the Xbox unit itself, and then they can use it as a complementary, just the way the PS Portal is attached to the PlayStation, console. They're not going to probably do a streaming device, but they'll do a device that has its own set of, rules in terms of, it has its own hard drive. You can play games on there. You can carry your Game Pass library on there just to come into the equation and also compete. And I also think they're probably, staying away from it too, because hardware sales are already right now a challenge for them in terms of, how they're competing against PlayStation. So they may not even do a handheld. I mean, they've kind of teased it, but you never know. It's something that I think is worth, talking about and worth exploring. But that's just one question, guys, in this particular, scenario. But there is another question that I thought will be of note. I guess another comment from another longtime audience member and supporter, which I think we need to take a look at. And this is from James Young Jr. So, James, shout out to you, sir. I appreciate the comment. This has been a long-time follower. This is a user that knows me from my main channel from back in the day. So they said to me, listen closely. This is not going to work. If people want to buy a PC, then people will buy a PC. If people want to buy a console, people are going to buy a console. That's very true. I think what we're pointing out is, and James, you play on Xbox. That's been your main for the longest time. What we're talking about is we're actually paying a little bit more attention on the PlayStation side, because a lot of the hyper PlayStation fans have come out with this notion that the PS5 Pro is this thing that, is the second coming. And the reality is we have to serve the reality appeal to say the reason the only way this thing can actually be as good as a PC is if it becomes a PC itself. And it's getting closer and closer to looking like a PC with all the same things that most PlayStation fans have criticized PC gaming for. Xbox still keeps it simple. I still have a Series X and I have a PS5. If I bought a PS5 Pro today, I probably wouldn't even realize that I'm playing on a console anymore. If I have to do settings of more than 4 things on a console to play the game, which I barely do settings on my gaming on PC, barely, like it annoys me. So I'll buy like what I think is like the most powerful, gimmicks I can get on PC if I want to actually deal with it. So even my main build that runs a 4090 that I used to make a lot of videos, is, just slightly more. Well, I guess it's 4090 is significantly more powerful, but I went straight for the next best thing to be able to do my gaming. So I have a 4080 build and I have a 6800 XT build. So there are no questions. When I fire up a game, I don't want to see the settings menu. Maybe I'll go in there and change like 2 things, like make sure the resolution is okay, but that's it. I don't want to deal with that, if you get what I mean. So I think that's something that needs to be taken into account very carefully, that the PlayStation players are now in the same boat. They say, you said if consoles go away, you're going to have PC prices skyrocket. Okay, here's the thing. Consoles are not going anywhere. The console ecosystem remains sustainable for the console manufacturers. They just have to make sure that they don't go kill their hardware. That's the only thing. Xbox understands that, yes, even though their hardware is not selling as much as PlayStation, they still have a way to continue to support it, which is by selling more software to any possible area that they can get that software to. That's a simple equation. So I don't see Xbox leaving its console sales because it's selling half of what PlayStation is doing. That would be stupid of them. So they're still going to keep selling consoles, and their consoles are going to grow. Next generation, people are going to look at Call of Duty and say, I'm going to go buy an Xbox for this next Call of Duty game. They're simply going to just do that, right? And so Xbox already has a formula to route people to its ecosystem to build its console sales. Many are just not seeing the long-term game of Game Pass and the long-term game of Xbox's ecosystem. So they're reacting for the now. If you tell them, they'll say, no. That's how they always say. People always talk, and then when the data starts coming out, and then when Xbox dominates PlayStation out of nowhere, everyone is now shocked. Surprise Pikachu face is what they're all basically, emitting from their, from their brains. I said the same thing about PlayStation fanboys wanting Xbox to fold. If Xbox folds, then Sony will start charging $1,000 for more consoles. They're already showing you how money hungry they are. That's a PlayStation hubris thing. PlayStation is charging hardware because they have a loyal fan base that has not necessarily gotten sick and tired of their wallet basically being, stabbed in the back every single time. They're eventually going to get tired of it. You watch and see. It's just a matter of time. And that's the thing. Xbox has a long game proposition going on. PlayStation is a very short term in the way that they actually implement their businesses. Maybe they're long-term thinkers too, but they're just not, in a position to be able to do much because they're limited as well. Xbox has basically a huge war chest, a huge war fund. One more publisher under the PlayStation, under the Xbox banner is over. It's already over for PlayStation. They already have Activision Blizzard, King, and they have Bethesda, and they have their Xbox Game Studios. And so they have like maybe the capability of 4 to 5 publishers underneath their wings, churning out content everywhere for them. The only thing that's going to right now destroy that whole Xbox proposition on the console side is if somebody just wakes up one day and says, we're not going to do it out of sheer stupidity. There's no reason for them to leave the console hardware game. They have so much opportunity in the market. And yes, even though the market is stagnant, there are not a lot of people buying, hardware. It's still a viable market for them. So for a lot of folk, I think what it is, am I going to have to, relinquish my, console? Is it going to be something that I don't have to deal with anymore and all the above? Honestly, guys, I don't think that's how you're going to see this whole thing play out. Microsoft understands the strategic need to have a console ecosystem the way it actually is. Yes, the PC, proposition is better, but some people prefer the console for their own specific gaming needs. So what's going to happen is they're going to continue to still serve these people because there's a ton of them. There's 34 million people subscribed to Game Pass, and there's 30 million Xbox Series consoles out in the wild, and even more in terms of Xbox One consoles out in the wild. All they need to do is convert all of those people to whatever it is that they want them to convert to. Why would they not do consoles? Who will subscribe to Game Pass if there are no consoles? PC players? Many of them are not going to do that. I mean, sure, as many PC players may subscribe to Game Pass, the numbers are still not, that significant enough for them to just abandon the consoles. That would be insane. That would be crazy. So a lot of the PlayStation boys that, fans that are saying that Xbox is going to fold, they're dreaming. They just cannot imagine a world. See, they've been spoiled. That's what it is, James. They've been really spoiled. And many of them feel, and the hyper fans feel entitled to everything, right? They just feel like everything should come to their doorstep and bow down to them. They're walking around calling the PlayStation 5 Pro better than a 4070 or as good as a 4070. Some are saying it's as good as a 4090. I mean, you should see how unhinged a lot of them sound. So just that alone should tell you that, you can't take much of what they say, seriously. I should be the one doing that because I get a benefit from it. I actually make content from it. So for them, forget about the noise. Just listen and follow where, things are trending to in the data. It doesn't mean consoles are going to go anywhere. It just means that the way we understand gaming is going to change, right? The hardware will probably advance more and more. Maybe you get to a point where the console, like the first question asked, where you can actually go ahead and upgrade your your RAM and your CPU, possibly, but then that reduces the ability for them to basically keep upselling you and the shiny, and then that gives now more room for you to be able to go on other platforms that is not their platform. So they're probably going to be reluctant to easily let you just go to another platform with ease via their hardware, right? Their hardware is supposed to be locked so that you can pay for services within the hardware. You would have to decide that you don't want to pay for those services in order for you to break out of it. And that's how I think the whole thing's going to work out. Talk to me in the comment section, guys. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. Let me hear your thoughts, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.